holiday? Just say Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
Say bye.
Bye. Bye, Spooky.
Okay. Today we are going to be talking about meaner than a snake. And I took this devotional, or I made this devotional out of the book called Getting Along, Exploring the Jungle of Women's Relationships by Nancy Ekman. And I took some of the points she had and kind of expanded on it, and I thought it was kind of interesting. And we have all heard that he or she is meaner than a snake. So what does that mean? And that term is usually used to describe someone who is horrid all the time. It's someone we don't want to be around. If I was to ask you all if you like snakes, I would venture to say that the answer would be no. We think of snakes as mean creatures. If I were to ask you if you'd ever encountered or known someone who is meaner than a snake, you'd probably say yes. We've all had either used that phrase or we've known somebody like that. There's some people that are like that, not what a Christian should be, but they are out there. But when you encounter someone that we say is meaner than a snake, we're talking about people who we don't like. We don't want to be around them. We shouldn't be around them. They're no fun to be around. They're always sneaky, trying to get you or hang you in some way, and that's not how we should be. So that is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how we shouldn't be as mean as a snake. And where they got this topic is a lot of people think the serpent in Genesis was a snake, and that's where we typically get the meanness. If you see all the children's pictures or if you watch movies, it's a mean old hissing snake. Even in everyday movies, not even a Bible movie, snakes aren't nice. Snakes are mean. Usually now, to me, a snake is a snake. You could put 10 snakes in front of me and I'm not going to know the difference in any of them, and I'm not going to like any of them. And typically, if you come across a snake, you want to get away from it. You're not going to go pick it up and examine it and all of that. And they just have this stereotype of being mean, and it's been that way from the beginning. But I want us to think about in our Christian lives, in church, in our families, in our friends circles, in our jobs, anywhere people know us, are we meaner than a snake? When things go wrong, when we don't get our way, or just is that our personality, that we are as mean as a snake? It is a known fact that we're not all going to get along all the time. You could find, it could be husband and wife, it could be your best friend, it could be a coworker. You've been coworkers for 30-something years. You're not going to get along all the time. And we know that. That's just a fact. And in fact, there are going to be times that we will have knockdown, drag-out fights. And these fights will occur with our family, our friends, and even the church members. And when we act like a snake, that is when we tend to spread malicious gossip. We play games with people's feelings. We start to form cliques. We divulge in damaging secrets. We start making insinuating comments. And we undermine other women. Whether this is intentional or unintentional, and all those things are intentional. If you're spreading gossip, that's intentional. If you're playing with somebody's feelings, that's intentional. When you form a clique to exclude somebody, that's intentional. When you're wanting to just talk about damaging secrets or spreading damaging secrets, that's intentional. When you make insinuating comments, that's intentional. And when we undermine other people, it's intentional. And those are all things that a Christian should not do. And so anything we do to tear the other person down and to hurt them, you do it if you're meaner than a snake. This should not be. As Christians, we should not be meaner than a snake. But we all know that the things we just listed, they happen. They happen in our families. They happen in our friendship circles. They happen at work. And yes, they happen in the church building. The one place that you would think is not going to happen, it probably happens the most. And as women, we need to be supporting one another instead of tearing each other down. As women, we thrive off of friendships. We need them. It's no secret, women like to talk. If you look at all of the statistics, women talk more than men. Women usually have more friends than men. Women need that relationship. They need that bonding. They need that time with other people. So since we need that and we thrive off of that, we don't need to be snakes and tear apart the friendships that we have. But we need to work to make more friendships. So you're probably thinking, okay, what does this have to do with the Bible? And that is what we're getting into. Can you all think of anyone that would be classified meaner than a snake in the Bible? And I'll be honest, we have done a devotional on this woman before. And when I was reading this, I never would have told her meaner than a snake. I would have said Jezebel. And the one that is talked about in this book is Miriam. And we always think of Miriam being the good person, being the one who found someone to nurse Moses and to raise Moses, to be his protector. She was there with Moses in the wilderness. She helped out. So we're going to look at some things and see why she is classified meaner than a snake. And we're going to start out in Numbers chapter 12. And in that chapter, we are told how a very good woman of God became meaner than a snake to her sister-in-law. And I guess I never really picked up on that. And we will talk about that. So Miriam, she gets evil, she gets mean when it comes to her sister-in-law. And like we said, we all know that Miriam is Moses' sister, but she was also more than that. She served as a leader of the Israelite women, and we see this in Exodus 15, verses 20 and 21. And that says, Then Miriam the prophetess, the sister of Aaron, took a tambourine in her hand, and all the women went out after her with tambourines and dancing. And Miriam sang to them, Sing to the Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider he has thrown into the sea. So we see here in those verses in Exodus 15, 20, and 21 that Miriam led the women in praise to God after they had walked through the Red Sea on the dry land. So they were being chased by Pharaoh's people. We know the story. God parted the Red Sea. As soon as God's people got through, he closed the sea and it swallowed all of Pharaoh's people and Pharaoh and drowned them and killed them. So when they look back and see all of Pharaoh's people being swallowed up by this water, Miriam leads the women in a song. So she is a leader, someone people look up to. Then we see in Exodus chapter 2, verses 5 through 10, this is where Miriam is being the protector of Moses. And this is where she's asking Pharaoh's daughter to take care of her. So we will read those 5 verses, starting in verse 5. Now the daughter of Pharaoh came down to bathe at the river, while her young women walked beside the river. She saw the basket among the reeds and sent her servant woman, and she took it. When she opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the baby was crying. She took pity on him and said, This is one of the Hebrews' children. Then his sister said to Pharaoh's daughter, Shall I go and call you a nurse from the Hebrew women to nurse the child for you? And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, Go. So the girl went and called the child's mother. As Pharaoh's daughter said to her, Take this child away and nurse him for me, and I will give you your wages. So the women took the child and nursed him. When the child grew older, she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. She named him Moses because, she said, I drew him out of the water. So we all know that Moses means being drawn out of the water. And I said this wrong at the beginning. Pharaoh's daughter was not the one who nursed Moses, but they did raise him. Miriam's part was to go and find someone to nurse. And when she did, she obviously went and got Moses' mother, Miriam's mother. But Pharaoh's daughter did not know this. So I misquoted that at the beginning of this devotional. But we see where she was the protector. She was watching. She was going to make sure that Moses was in good hands. So up to this point, it is safe to say that Miriam was a good person. She followed God, believed in God, did what she was told. She was a protector. She did good things. And then we start to see it change a little bit. And we're going to go to Numbers chapter 12. And we're going to read verse 2 first and talk about it. And then we're going to go back and read verse 1. So in Numbers 12:2, it says, And they said, Has the Lord indeed spoken only through Moses? Has he not spoken through us also? And the Lord heard it. So this verse is where the jealousy begins. Miriam and Aaron are standing there and they see that they have helped Moses. Yes, God's talking through Moses, but they have been talked to too. They had helped spread God's word. They had helped Moses lead the people. And now they're grumbling. The green-eyed monster we talked about last week. Jealousy is coming out. And It's with Miriam. And Miriam goes to Aaron and she goes, can they not see, or can we not see? Has God not spoken to us too? Why is it all Moses, 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 Moses? We have a part in this too. And we see that angered God. And the result was God struck Miriam with leprosy. And so she was out of the camp for 7 days. They couldn't go anywhere. They couldn't walk. They couldn't move. They had to stay where they were. So it's kind of like they came to a standstill for 7 days. Everything stopped. So now we see that, I won't call her as mean as a snake because she was jealousy, but we see a little mean streak in Miriam right here. We see where just jealousy makes her become somebody she shouldn't be. And we see that God gets angry about it, and God took care of it. He struck her with leprosy as a punishment. So let's jump back to verse 1. Numbers 12, verse 1, Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses because of the Cushite woman whom Moses had married, for he married a Cushite woman. So we see here that Moses married a Cushite, and Miriam did not like that. And here's where the meaner than a snake comes in. And she resents her sister-in-law for it. She resents her. She hates her. She doesn't like her. She's out to, I guess you would say destroy her, hurt her, have nothing to do with her. Do we see that today? Do we see that in marriages today? I've seen it. A certain mate doesn't approve. I'll just use Matt and I as an example. If someone didn't approve of me, if Matt's family, friends didn't approve of me, doesn't it cause problems? And vice versa, if my family doesn't approve of Matt, isn't that when hurt feelings happen? Hurtful things are said, gossip starts spreading, lies start spreading. It causes problems. So we know Miriam is human. Moses is married. Now, Moses and Aaron don't like that she's a Cushite, but we don't see Aaron causing problems. Miriam causes problems. Miriam is resentful. We're not sure. She never tells us, or the Bible never tells us why she resents this woman so much, but she does. And once again, Miriam is found upsetting God. This is not something that God likes. God does not want us to be mean. Some think that Miriam was jealous. Some think she was jealous because she thought she was losing her power with the people, which we kind of see that in today's family. You have siblings who are close. One sibling goes off and gets married, and the other sibling's like, oh, okay, my spot just got taken. You know, they're married now. That's all they care about. We're going to lose our brother-sister relationship. We're going to lose our mother-daughter relationship. We're going to lose our father-son relationship. And it's not that way. But sometimes people see it that way, and sometimes it is that way. And we see jealousy, and like we talked about last week, nothing good comes out of jealousy. And you start with jealousy, and then it just evolves, and the things we talked about earlier, the divulging or indulging in secrets, spreading gossip, starting to exclude people from your group because you don't like a certain person. All that happens because of jealousy. And we think that, or some people think that Miriam did this because, you know, she's been with Moses. She helped Moses lead the people. She was there. She was a big part in all of this. And she thinks she's losing that. She thinks she's no longer someone who is important. Whatever the reason was that she did these things, she did it to make herself look better. But what happened? She ended up being punished both times. When she questioned, or when her and Aaron were talking about, well, look, you know, God's only talking to Moses, and they got jealous of Moses. They made God angry, and he struck her with leprosy. Who was she thinking of? Herself. She wasn't thinking of all the good things Moses had done. She was only thinking of herself. Here, what is happening? She's not thinking of this Cushite woman. She's not thinking of Moses' feelings. She's not getting the grasp that no matter what she does, they're still married. She's only thinking about herself and what's going to make her look good and be a better, not want to say be a better person, but what's going to encourage her and make herself look better. And are we supposed to be like that? Are we supposed to hurt people to make ourselves look better? And we all know the answer is no. But really stop and think about that. How often are we meaner than a snake? How often are we hurting people to make ourselves look better? How often are we hurting people because we've been hurt or we want to get revenge? Let's go back to what we talked about at the very beginning. When does spreading malicious gossip start? When we hear something we don't like. When we want to be, oh, well, I can say it first. I heard it first. Look at me. I'm the best one. Playing with people's feelings. Why do you do that? Because you have control. You're the upper person. Why do we form cliques? Well, so-and-so, she's in that clique and they were my friends 2 years ago and now she came back and they don't want nothing to do with me. I'm going to form my own clique over here. We're not going to do anything with them. We're not going to talk to them. Why do we divulge in damaging secrets? To make us feel better. So we think. Does it make us feel better? No. All we do is hurt other people and we get hurt. Insinuating comments. When we undermine other women, why do we do all this? Why are we meaner than snakes? Because it all boils down to we think that we are, that it'll make us better than the other person. It'll make us look better than the other person, and that's not how it should be. So what I want us to take away from this devotional today is watch how we act towards others. Watch our daily comments. Watch how we talk about other people. Watch the things we do and what we say and how we treat other people, especially in the church. That is where everybody should be able to come and feel comfortable and feel loved and have friends and not feel like they're going to be mistreated. So this week, let's just work on not being as mean as a snake, being a better Christian than we have in the past. Thank you, as always, for listening, and I will see you all next week.